Okay, so I started throwing some panels on just to see what we had for clearance, and looks like we're gonna end up with about a 6.5-inch body lift, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. This thing, seriously, so I'm 5'10". The handle's at like 5'10". It's tall. So I ended up having to lift it up just to get clearance. My biggest problem was this guy right here. So this is a fuel filter block, and even right now I've only got about an inch there. So I couldn't shift it over because that would throw off the truck being centered on the body, and then I really couldn't move this panel too much because that would move the steering wheel too far towards the door. I mean, I could get about an inch out of it, but that was enough. That was too much. An inch is about all I could do. Anything more than that, and the steering wheel would be hitting the door when you're driving. So looks like we'll be doing, I'll be building some custom brackets. This is the body mount for the back of the truck, so looks like I'll probably build some custom brackets for that. Just eliminate this, still put this on the frame where it needs to go, and then that'll be okay. And then the front, this is the body mount here. So the front's gonna get a little tricky. I don't know, a piece of pipe with some bracing back, a big fish plate. I guess we'll take care of that. So body mounts aren't that big a deal. I got tons of clearance. Got enough clearance back here. This is cool. This is the spot I was concerned about. I was afraid this was gonna fall on this, which it did originally, but once I started pushing everything around on the front to get the grill to line up, it made the front of the cab come forward a little bit. So forward and up isn't bad. These Internationals are designed to do in-frame overhauls, so that actually gives me plenty of room. This actually gives me more room than what the bus had, as far as the top of the doghouse to the head. So if I ever have to do an in-frame overhaul on this thing, I can. Probably won't ever get to that point, but this was just overhauled like 60,000 miles ago, 70,000 miles ago, something like that. I'll have to look at the papers, but that gives me tons of room for that. So, and then as you can see, all the factory stuff. So, I remember I was talking about possibly moving the radiator down. The problem is the fan. It's a mechanical fan. You can see there's only like an inch and a half of room between the fan and the radiator hose right there. So unfortunately, I could not move that down without getting into that radiator hose, and all that work for an inch and a half really doesn't do me any good. So I basically took the inside firewall. I didn't want to modify it at all. I want this whole piece exactly how it is, because the way the doghouse can bolt straight up to it. So I didn't want to modify that at all. And with that little clearance issue back there, no matter what I did, I would end up having to cut a big notch out. Well, that's where the throttle pedal's at. So if the throttle pedal has to move over, that means the brake pedal's got to move over, which isn't a huge deal, but that was the whole point of having all these holes where they need to go. So the goal was absolutely not modify any of that. And the result is this thing sitting freaking almost 8 feet up off the ground at the top. So that's all right. I think it's actually working out really well. I'll pull the hood off so you can kind of see how everything clearance is under there. And of course, everything got all whacked. You can see now, almost everything factory. There's a couple of cross braces on the hood that hit, that just support the underside of the hood, but everything factory should fit perfectly. Even the, I think I'm even gonna put these back up on there, put the brackets on the firewall, support the top of the radiator. I think that's gonna tie everything together. This little guy fits perfectly, so I don't have to mess with that. So that'll stay at the high point, so I'll be able to bleed the cooling system easy. Got plenty of room for the intake, whatever I choose to put in there. Not really sure what the plan is yet for that, but so yeah. Oh yeah, and then this. So this is wild. This is the radiator. Actually, this is the intercooler, but nonetheless, this is the factory radiator opening. Factory radiator opening. It's the exact same size as that. So I do lose a little bit of fins down there. Radiator hangs all the way down, so this whole section doesn't get air, which kind of sucks. So I may end up cutting some oblongs or some oval, I don't know, I'll do something in there just so that a little bit more air gets in. And then this will have about 1.5 inch gap underneath of it, so it'll get air that way. So I don't think that's really gonna affect cooling all that much. It's not like this thing's gonna haul 35,000 pounds anymore. But yeah, so it's all kind of balancing out exactly how it should. Pretty excited. I think the best part is everything is staying completely factory for international. So, you know, replacing parts and stuff like that for the whole drivetrain, no problem whatsoever. And everything will bolt up exactly the way it's supposed to and everything. Can't ask for much better than that. Okay, end of day update. So I hate days like this where it doesn't look like anything got done, but that's okay because shit got done. So this sucker is sitting on a patented 5.5 inch body lift. I just happen to have one of those sitting somewhere. So I put it on. Okay, it's got the bolt through it and everything. So the front of this truck is sitting under its own weight. So I still got some cluster to do here. I'm not really sure. I think what I'm gonna actually probably do is cut the factory forward floor out along this line and contour to match the bus firewall, just so that the passengers have a little bit more foot room, because I don't want to step here because that's going to be weird. But they got the firewall all welded in. This is welds from the backside, so it's kind of caught some stuff on fire, you know, good stuff, welding stuff. You don't catch something on fire when you're welding, you ain't doing something right. So this all kind of flowed together okay. I got a little hole to fill there. That's where the factory pedals were coming through for the Ford, and that's all welded up. So I think what I'm gonna do is get some seam sealer, seal everything up, and then I think I'm gonna paint the Firewall, the school bus. It's called National School Bus Yellow. So hold on, kid. You're right. This one here, say hi to the camera. This one here just lost her first tooth. Where did you find your tooth at?
In my Gatorade bottle.
In your Gatorade bottle. High five. Yeah. So now the plan is build some back body mounts, which I'll probably just take these out, put some bar, extend them the length they need, bolt them to the frame, and then the body at that point is mounted. So once the body's mounted, I'll go ahead and start putting all the electrical back in here, steering, brakes, all that stuff. And I think the goal is to actually drive this thing out of here next weekend. Maybe. I'll have to see what Mama's got planned for next weekend, but probably won't have the clip on. But drive this sucker out under its own power, go for a little drive on it with it. It'll be fun. Yes, sir. Oh, here comes the other little one. So making some progress, getting close.